Hello and welcome to another episode of Dubai Real Estate Unplugged, the official House & Haus podcast. Happy New Year to everyone listening. Hope you all had a wonderful holiday season. As always, I'm Luke Remington, Managing Director at the House & Haus Group, and today I'm joined by some special guests who you might recognise. Chris, Eddie and Jess are three of the amazing agents featured on our TV series on BBC Three, Dubai Hustle. And for those who haven't binge watched the series yet, I'll let them introduce themselves. So Eddie, Chris, Jess, ladies first. Jess.
All right. Hello, I'm Jess. I'm from Canada and I've been in Dubai for, it's going to be 3 years coming up in the springtime. So I've done real estate since end of 2022 with House & Haus. Started off in Dubai land, townhouse sales, family villas, and now I've just moved into Al Barari. So very exciting area and loving it.
Good. We'll talk a bit more about that after. Chris.
Yes.
Everyone's going to know you, but
if they don't know me, they would have heard me.
So for anyone that doesn't understand Chris, we've got a YouTube channel and you've got some subtitles there, so you can crack on
so
with
I'm okay
that.
then.
You're okay, mate.
Yeah.
No telephone voice.
So for those that don't know you, Chris.
Yeah, Chris, I'm obviously from Scotland, not Wales, as Jess finds. So I've been in House & Haus now for the best part of 3 years, and yeah, I started off in the residential market and Emirates living. Just recently, in the past few months, I've moved into off-plan and investment, so I'm really focusing on that side of things now, working with clients, buyers, things like that, and yeah. That's about it.
Superb. Last but not least, Eddie.
Last but not least, Eddie, yes. I'm also from Scotland, the more proper spoken one than Chris here. People can understand me, so, well, I hope so. That's 3 years coming up for me. I've been here in Dubai now.
Nice.
Previously, before I moved over to House & Haus it was the end of last summer. I was with another real estate company. I was there for, obviously, since I'd moved out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd literally started off my real estate journey doing rentals in the downtown area, moved into sales once I moved over here doing Dubai Hustle. Can't get that out of my head now. Moved over to the Dubai Hills.
Yeah.
So I've done Dubai Hills sales, and recently, the last 6 months or so, I've moved into off-plan. So yeah, it's all looking good.
Fantastic. Thanks for the introduction, guys. Okay, right, Chris, you're the OG, you're the original cast member. You've been in the hustle from the start.
Yeah, been from the very start, done all 3 seasons now.
Brilliant. So, how is it? The show got launched last week or the week before?
Yeah.
January 2nd.
Last Tuesday, yeah.
Okay, so it's been out a week. How's it been since the launch? Honestly speaking.
I'll always be honest.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, look, you mentioned that I've been here from season 1, 2 and then 3. I think the difference this launch is it's been huge hype about it.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of feedback and a lot more people contact us directly, whether it's 90% great, the other saying that they can't understand when they show, but I mean, in terms of feedback, it's all been very exciting. We're starting to get some clients who want to work directly with us, which is the main aim of doing the show. You know, you want to get your name out there, show how good a broker you are, and then ultimately get some business from it.
Yeah. So the 90% of it is good. Do you feel that the kind of the clients are contacting you, they actually, because they've watched you, they actually get a sense and a feel for who you actually are? Because it's a big thing coming to Dubai, buying a property or renting a property. You know, you hear about all these stories and there's sharks and let's be honest, we're real estate brokers and not everyone trusts us. Yeah. So maybe they've got that kind of bit of taster. They get to see you, although it is a TV series and a drama. Do you just feel that they've maybe got a bit more information about Chris?
Honestly, I meet people on like a day-to-day basis. It's not like I'm like Brad Pitt walking down the street, but you do get people coming up to you, even the new starters in the office, for example, like, "Hi Chris, how you doing?" I'm like, "Do I know you?" You know, they feel like they already know you as a person, as a character, and you know, I'm very honest in myself on the show, so that reflects to in life. So yeah, they feel like they get a good grasp of who I am for clients, people who message, anybody who meets me.
correct me if I'm wrong, filming took about 3 to 6 months, and it was done in the summer of last year. So we're looking 2023 summer. It was actually a difficult time recording in the summer. So fair play to you, going out in that hot weather and doing it. Eddie, it is a while ago now when we talk about the summer and going back then. But what's changed for you since then?
Like as a person, or
so the filming's been done, you've cracked on with it. Have you kind of forgotten about what you were doing, and then you've seen the show being launched and it's all come back to you? All this kind of thing.
Well, during the filming, it was unbelievable. What an experience it was.
Okay.
Great laugh, obviously, with the two here and obviously the rest of the guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously that's been a year since we've done the filming.
Yeah.
So you've obviously tried to get your head back into the game, because doing the film, it takes up a lot of time. So obviously your managers are saying to you, look, you need to keep all your focus on doing deals, etc. But it is hard, obviously, doing the filming, because you know you're filming the next day. You've got that in your mind going to bed at night. Whereas when you're doing, obviously, the office work, not having the filming, that's your 100% focus.
Yeah.
So you're going to bed thinking, right, I'm prepping my day for tomorrow. So yeah, when you've got the TV show going on, you've obviously got a million things going through your head as well. So as a person, I would say I've grew stronger into the job. I understand a lot more. I've got a lot more knowledge in what I'm doing. As I said, touched on before, I've started off doing rentals, I've went into secondary, now I'm doing off-plan, so I feel as if I've got quite a lot of experience now.
So just correct me again, for the series, people would have known you as a Dubai Hills sales consultant.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
now you're doing the off-plan.
Yeah.
So same as what Chris was talking about. So Chris, you've gone from the Emirates Living team and you've gone to off-plan.
Yeah.
Is there a reason? Is it just coincidence that you're both on Dubai Hustle and you're both Scottish and you both decided that you don't want to leave each other?
Well, to be fair, like my reasoning behind the move, I actually left one of our strongest residential sales teams to move over into off-plan. So it wasn't an easy decision to make. So I obviously had some time to think about it, sat down, spoken to the likes of Simon and Ben as well, my team manager at the time. So it's not something I'd done overnight. It was playing on my mind for quite a while. So yeah, the reason behind it, I do have a strong network of clients where they're more so looking into the likes of off-plan investments. So as we do, obviously within the secondary teams, we always have our team meetings where we all get together, share what properties we're bringing to the market, what we're working on with our clients. Whereas when I was having these team meetings, I felt as if I wasn't bringing much to the table, because I was talking about the clients that I was dealing with. They were looking in at off-plan options, and I wasn't bringing new properties to the market within the area that I was obviously supposed to be specialising in. So a lot has changed.
Okay, fair enough. Jess, I heard some good things about you.
Oh yeah, what did you hear?
All good things. No, to be fair, I heard good things about the three of you. But I think it's one of these things that people will tend to give you. I know you mentioned, Chris, that maybe you've had 10% of comments that aren't necessarily going to be as nice as you would have hoped, but maybe that's life, and maybe that's kind of being out there in the kind of the public eye. And sometimes people are critics, and sometimes
those are my favourite comments.
But no, I have heard good things. Jess, I think it was kind of, I think your humour shone through. You all were who you are. You weren't trying to be someone else. How have things been for you since the show?
Yeah, really good, really good. I mean, I was true to myself on camera. I didn't try and display a persona that wasn't me. You know, I wanted people to see, like, this is what I'm actually like, and I did get a little bit of feedback. Some people thought, at first I was maybe a bit too over the top, and then they watched.
In what way?
Just too, like,
glamorous.
Heels, like, oh, she's all about herself, you know?
Yeah.
But
is this kind of comparing you maybe to other TV shows that are about real estate in other parts of the world, without mentioning those? There's obviously a lot of series going on in US, and
these things are always going to happen though, aren't they? So,
so are people comparing you to that, kind of turning up in the flash cars, looking really glamorous, and thinking, are you a model or are you selling properties?
Exactly. Like, do you actually work in real estate? I definitely do.
And that is interesting, actually, because you work in real estate, and like the two guys, you've also had a change.
Yeah,
so you've moved from one area to another.
Yeah, so
Explain.
I started out in Mira, so it's out in the desert. Basically, it's way past Dubai Hills. But it's a great place where, you know, people buy rental properties, you know, for investors. They were getting, you know, families with their first home investment. It's a great area, still a great area. I still have buyers for the area, you know, trying to get their first home. It's not too far out. It's just, you know, it's not directly in the downtown area, the core of Dubai. But I always just felt like I wanted a bit more of a challenge since, you know, blossoming into an agent. I started fresh off the what, not fresh off the boat, but I started fresh.
You a banana boat, wasn't it?
I started fresh in sales. I actually never did leasing. So when I got hired, I said, I really just want to do sales. I told James, I said, I know I can do it. Just give me the chance and I'll show you that I will.
You back yourself.
I will transact. And I did.
Okay.
So I closed my first deal in 4 weeks, which was great. Great start, right? But I wanted a little bit higher margin area.
Okay. In terms of the prices.
Yeah, because the job itself in real estate, I mean, at the end of the day, a sale is a sale. There's obviously hurdles and speed bumps you overcome along the way. But whether it's 2 million or 20, the sale can be quite straightforward, you know, the process.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to see, you know, can I tackle more of a luxury area and be good at it? And so far, so good. I'm really enjoying it.
And that area is?
Al Barari.
Okay.
Yeah.
A bit about Al Barari.
I absolutely love it. So
I was there last weekend, actually.
Isn't it lovely?
I was in the farm last weekend having breakfast.
You have to go to the farm.
You've been there as well.
It's amazing.
Jess, how do we get in here again?
It's lovely. I'll get you an NOC.
So there's like a variety of properties there, but you have got, it is kind of like greenery. It's actually
it's like the jungle.
If you got tranquilized and you were in a different country and then someone put you into Al Barari, you could consider being in Bali or something. It's unbelievable that you'd think you're in the Middle East.
Exactly. A lot of clients actually come from places like downtown or City Walk and they're just tired of the noise and the traffic and they want to live somewhere that's more green. And Barari offers amazing, you could get an apartment, basically a 1-bed starts at around 2,000 square feet, right? Downtown, 2,000 square feet is like a 3-bed size, you know? That's for the 1-beds. Then you go into the villas. You've got the Charizia villas. Those are just over 5,500 built up, you know, twin villas.
Nice olive tree in the center garden.
Lovely
really
glass courtyard, absolutely stunning. Private pools, roof terraces, and then you've got all the standalone, your jasmine leaf, your silk leaf, all your custom villas. So it's got a great range. You know, starting out for myself, you know, I can sell the apartments and the villas. It's not such a huge community as well, which I actually really like. Because some of the master communities in Dubai, they have so many villas, so much saturation, so many agents, you know, 5,000, 6,000 villas in some communities. There's not as many in Al Barari, but there's a good mix of stock at different price points that you can sell.
The apartment's called?
So we've got Seventh Heaven and Ashjar. The neighborhood as well, kind of like your starter apartments, a little bit smaller, but the main are Seventh Heaven and Ashjar.
I was out there and I thought it looked very Miami-esque, you know, large terraces. You can imagine if you were in, or I can imagine you've obviously been in them, but I can imagine you just see a lot of greenery over the tops of greenery, It looked amazing. Chris, as I say, the OG, you've been in all the series, you've been with us a while. I think it's coming up to 3 years you've been with us. So you're cracking on. How did it all start for you? What were you doing before? Obviously, you've come from Scotland, as we all know, but what were you doing and then what was the reason for the move?
So I was very successful in car sales. I worked for probably the biggest company in Europe in terms of car sales. Most people will know it. So I started off, I'd done car sales for 4 years. I really seen my life path in front of me. You know, you build up for doing 10 cars a month and then 30 and 40 and then, you know, you do huge months. It's a lot of hard work. So I think that's where I built a bit of my work ethic. Certainly I learned off of some of the best, you know, salesmen in the world in terms of how to apply myself to the sales market, really. I always just went month to month, let's smash out 30, 40 cars, make good money, relatively speaking, in terms of the UK, you know, 80 grand a year. It was fantastic for a young guy in my 20s. So it wasn't like I was pursuing, but I looked and I was like, right, I'm going to be a sales manager in a year, then I'll probably be a general manager. Do I want to spend the rest of my life in a car garage?
Okay. Yourself?
Yes.
Doing it yourself?
Yeah, well, I'll say that. I've done this one myself.
Still doing it yourself.
Yeah,
Not much has changed.
So during the haircut, wisdom, you saw the light and...
No, I was going to travel. I thought, I've saved up a good bit of money. I've been locked down now for a few months. Let's go and travel the world. And the barber's like, go to Dubai. And I had no idea about Dubai. I'd never visited. And he's like, well, one of my friends actually worked there. He worked in real estate. I think you'd be great at it. He knew I was in car sales, whatever else. And he put me in touch with him. One phone call. He then put me in touch with James, like pretty much same day. Spoke to James.
Wow.
And then James is like, love your energy, love that. Jumped on a Zoom call, I think a day or two later.
Yeah.
And James obviously offered me the opportunity, and I think that was around January time.
Yeah.
And I came out and 2 months later, and that was it. Basically, like, handed in my notice, worked the notice, and that was me, spur of the moment.
Crazy. Eddie, your story's a bit different. And I think you mentioned it briefly on the show, on the Hustle, Dubai Hustle. Tell us how you got started in real estate and why you chose... Because you actually working, like you said at the start in your intro, you're working for another company and you've moved to Haus.
Yeah. So literally my real estate journey began where before I'd moved over here, I was literally working away from home doing land drilling. So I was literally coring rock in the ground with like all the machines you see out in Dubai these days. So
sorry, say that again. You were coring?
Coring.
Coring.
Accent barrier.
Yeah. Jess, do you understand that?
No, I don't.
Yeah. So what was
coring?
Can I get Google Translate on there?
I've already had a few people contacting me saying, you used to be a driller. We're walking about with a hand drill. But yeah, a driller back home in the UK is literally using like sort of what they do out in the rigs out here.
So this would be quite common in Scotland as well, right?
It's common everywhere.
Is it?
It's a big job. It was a very well paid job.
Okay.
But while I was doing that, I was also playing semi-pro football as well, and I was always had that in my head where I didn't have work as my number one go-to. I literally always thought, do you know what? I'm prioritising football over everything else. So I didn't like working away from home. So even though playing football, it didn't even cover me enough to even pay my rent for the month.
Right.
But that's just what I love doing. So long story short, I literally quit my job to do a 2 years gas course to become a gas engineer.
Okay.
So literally when I'd finished that course, I literally had no idea what I was doing.
You just didn't know.
I was all over the place. But I just thought, you know what, I've got a chance to come back home. I was turning up to like a college back home in the UK. I was driving an Audi S3 at the time, so I just, because I was getting paid so well at my previous job, I could afford all the luxury cars and things like that at the time. So I was driving into college in a fancy car, whereas people they were like 16, 17 years old, just coming from school, getting the bus to college. So I felt a bit out of place at the time because I was a lot older than everyone. So I'd literally done my 2 years gas course. When that finished, obviously it was during COVID, so I couldn't even get a job. So I'd finished, in fact the course actually finished early because of COVID. So at the end of the course, I literally came out to Dubai for a week's holiday with 2 friends. And while I was out here, a recruiter had reached out to me on Instagram. At the time, I didn't even know anything about real estate at the time. All I knew about property was people selling houses back home, even though that I didn't even know much about that. So literally came back home after my holiday, spoke to my mate. I says, look, I'm stressing out. I said, I'm out without a job, I've no income coming in now, I don't know what to do. He says, mate, why don't you go and take the chance in Dubai doing real estate? And I thought, do you know what have I got to lose? I jumped on a Zoom call with the recruiter. I was on the Zoom call for about an hour. Then I says to him, right, so what's happening then? Like, what's the ins and outs of this job? He's like, oh, that's it, mate, that's the Zoom call done. I'd like to offer you the job. I thought, all right, okay. So 3 weeks later, I was on a flight to Dubai.
And then stayed at that company for?
I was there for a year and a half.
At that company?
At that company,
okay, so you stayed there a decent amount of time.
So to be fair, like something I've not spoke about as well, actually, quit during my time there as well. I left the company because I thought real estate might not be for me.
Okay.
Because I was literally just drowning under the pressure. I thought it's just a bit too much at the time. But I think I was away from it for about a month or 2 months. Then one of my friends back there said, look, Eddie, just come back, like, just get yourself back into it again. You were doing well. You're obviously just got sidetracked with other things. I thought, you know what, I'm doing nothing. I'm literally just wasting away again. So I got right back to it again. Then it was actually Ben that I'd spoken to here.
Okay.
Ben had reached out to me. He's like, why don't you come over here? Like, we've got a strong team here. Then went and met up with Charlie and James, had a great chat with them. I thought, you know what, it sounds like the right move for me. So
Amazing. Jess, the Canadian in the house.
Yes.
How did you end up in Dubai?
So I was working in Canada at the time as a recruiter. Okay. So it was a technical recruitment job. So we were recruiting engineers, project managers, structural engineers. I was promoted actually to be a team lead for Canada's biggest shipbuilding company to recruit for them. Okay. So like, I didn't know what a naval architect did or all these roles, you know? So I had I absorbed a lot of information knowing how to like hire these people and get them successfully jobs, you know? Yeah. So that was really good. But then when COVID happened, obviously, most of our business in the company was on contract. So we get the commission from the hours billed. Obviously, with COVID, all the projects around Canada were basically shut down, you know, other than essential. So we weren't getting any new candidates hired. We weren't making commission. And I was scared I was going to get laid off, but I wasn't because I just got promoted. So I said I was going to stay. But I just thought there's no money really coming in. And with recruitment, it was quite a basic salary. Okay. So without the commission, it was not really worth it.
Yeah.
So basically, ended up doing a lot of work from home, went and traveled a little bit actually during COVID, which the airport gave me a difficult time about, but I mean, I had to...
Traveling in COVID, probably quite a difficult thing to do, right?
I know. I did a little Euro trip actually, had a great time, came back to Canada, working remotely, all of that, and then they basically it was still going bad. Canada was just the whole industry, you know, for the pipelines, the hydro, the building, all these engineering projects were just squashed, basically. And so I was like, I'm literally not earning money. Like my salary is not that good. So what can I do here? And then through one of my friends in Canada, there was an opportunity for them to be expanding to Dubai in the payments industry. So they wanted someone to start business development, help with the team in Dubai. And I was like, well, what do I have to lose? I'd been living in the same apartment on the beach for about 9 years, loved the view, but the building was super old building. But it was kind of where I got my start living, you know, just outside of downtown Vancouver. Okay. And so I loved it, but I was also looking to move myself. So I was like, well, I could move, you know, up the street or I could move to the UAE. Let's see, right? So I just decided, why not? You know what I mean? All my friends were struggling at the time in Canada. Yeah. You know, I had a lot of friends in hospitality. I was also still in hospitality just before COVID. I was bartending to kind of make extra money on the weekends and all of that. That was all shut. Yeah. So, and it still hadn't recovered ages later. So I just decided, why not take the chance? If I hate it, I can always come back because I know my job will take me back in Canada. Yeah. You know, everything else will be open up again, hopefully in a year. Let's give it a year and see. So really, really loved Dubai, but didn't love, you know, what I was doing. I wanted to be more I knew people in real estate already that I met in Dubai, but I was scared because it was no salary, basically. And I was making a salary previously. And so I just decided, let's save up some money, you know, because I know in sales, you need about 6 months to do this job, you know. Otherwise, if you don't sell anything in the first month or two, then you've got to wait for the transfer, all of that. You know, agents run out of money with this dream coming to Dubai to do sales, and then they can't support themselves and have to leave, right? So I didn't want to be one of those cases. So I made sure I had money saved up. Yeah. And then, I was looking at different companies. I had friends who were offering me interviews and things like that at their agencies, but they were also a bit new to Dubai, and I just didn't get the sense that they were that happy with their companies they were in. Yeah. I honestly just found Haus online. Okay. I really liked, you know, the social media, the branding, everything, kind of like the culture that that I saw. Yeah. So I just applied online, didn't know anyone here at all. And heard back from recruitment, you know, come in for an interview, and then the rest is history. Yeah.
Tell me about the challenges. You're obviously completely new to real estate. Yeah. You had that you've obviously got that concerns about going into commission only role.
Yeah.
What challenges have you faced?
Yeah.
Have there been lots of ups and downs? 15 months now into it?
Yeah, 15 months into it.
What kind of ups and downs in those 15 months?
I mean,
Real estate related.
you've got to know what you're talking about, right?
It's a lot, right? You've done a show in 15 months. You've gone on to you're on the BBC. It's a top trending show at the moment. You guys have gone through a lot.
Yeah.
And I think Eddie touched on it. It's hard to concentrate in your job. And for those listening, you're not getting a salary from the BBC in order to do this show. It's all off your own back. And you got to get out what you're putting in. So you've got to be enthusiastic, etc. So you've taken on a career change in a new country.
Yeah.
And you've done a TV show at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So how hard has it been?
I mean, it's overall been a great experience. I always like challenges. I don't like to be too stagnant in life.
Yeah.
Like I've always stayed at jobs for at least minimum 2 years, every job I've had. But I also like to grow within, the company.
Yeah.
So I had a really good time. Obviously, starting in real estate new, you're doing cold calls. Clients are asking you like, what is this transacting at? What was the last sale? What is the rental price? What is all of this?
Yeah.
I gave you a bit of a hard time about it in the show.
I did see that, Eddie. You didn't know your rental prices, right?
It was actually, that was me trying to be funny as well, and it's backfired on me, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
Have you had some,
so you say.
have you had some comments on that?
So you say.
To be fair, I thought Jess was just trying to line me up, like, oh, how much is that rent for? I'm like, no idea. Just trying to continue with obviously my pitch. Then Charlie's jumped on it. I thought, that's just backfired on me now. So it's backfired on me. So I've had a few jokes with my friends about that.
Yeah.
Some agent I don't know the rental prices in your own area.
But it's difficult, right? When you're trying to learn the sales prices, the rental prices, you're trying to be realistic, and and you've got all these things to try and master.
Yeah.
You're moving areas.
You've got to know a lot, because clients, my first cold call, someone was asking me a million questions, and I did research before, but honestly, I had to be like, let me get back to you. Let me check with my team on that, just to get you the exact answer.
Yeah.
I think the best thing as a new agent is don't lie. If you don't know the answer, just say, I'm not sure. You'll get caught out, 100%. And then you won't seem trustworthy, and it looks bad on the company as well.
Yeah.
So anytime I haven't known something, I always try and just say, let me get back to you with the exact answer. Let me pull up the reports, especially even if I don't know even now, because you never know everything.
Of course. And this is the reason the industry has a bad name, right? Because people just say what they want to say that they think will sound good to the client, that will hopefully the client will end up going on it.
Yeah.
I actually had someone cold call me yesterday asking about an apartment I own. And I said that they said, will you sell? And I messaged back this on WhatsApp. I can't sell. It's rented. The property is actually still off plan. It's not built. It's not going to be finished at the end of this year. So I told the agent it's rented. And the agent then wrote back to me saying, when is it becoming available? Now, bearing in mind, that agent is asking me. So obviously they know nothing about that apartment, because they don't even know it's not built. So it's just they don't have a clue. So of course the industry and then clients are skeptical. Well, who am I dealing with? Am I dealing with someone with experience, or how much do they know, and are they looking into it? And it's a big thing to buy a property, right?
Huge.
Other than starting a family or something, it's probably one of the biggest things you're gonna you're gonna do in life.
I think the change in the way that I work or try and present myself to clients is, I'm not trying to sell you something.
Yeah.
I'm not a salesman.
Yeah.
I provide a service. And I provide a first class service.
Yeah.
It's up to you as a client whether or not you utilise me and my knowledge, and not just mine, but this whole team. There's 50 plus of us in this off plan. If you go and buy a pair of shoes, you can walk in, know exactly what you want, don't want bothered off a sales assistant. Or you can go in, get your feet measured up, they can take you through all the different styles, give you 3 options. That's up to you as a client. I will always put myself out there saying, look, I'm going to give you this top class service. And it's so much easier. It is,
and you've picked up some really interesting points on that. And I think someone's mentioned about the meetings that you go into, and it's not just what you're saying. You're also absorbing information from, there's 150 salespeople here with all different amounts of experience that all have a lot of knowledge. And that's what kind of concerns I have for the market in general. There are a lot of new companies that are starting, and the concerning things with a lot of these new markets are, the owners of these companies are actually only been doing it for kind of less than a year themselves.
Exactly.
So therefore the information is, well, how do they even know the information when things do get tricky? And it isn't always smooth sailing. You're not going to always deal with a contract that goes, well, whenever do you deal with something that always is smooth?
Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
It's rare.
Right?
There's always something.
Especially dealing with off-plan clients now as well. So you'll speak to an off-plan client, they'll contact you, say, look, I'm looking to invest. So it's literally you finding out why they're looking to invest, or if it's for personal use or just for an investment to receive an income on rental. So you're literally just qualifying that client, finding out exactly their needs and requirements. Then you're just taking all that information on board, and it's not just me that's making that decision, what's the best options for this client. I've got a strong team behind me where I'm going speaking to them. So I'm saying, look, this is the options I think is best for the client. What do you guys think as well? So I'm not just giving the client my knowledge. I've also got the knowledge of 150 people behind me as well.
100%. Well, you look at, obviously, your line manager, he's been doing it, I think, over 20 years. He's been in Dubai before, then he's been Marbella. You've obviously got Stephen Leckie, who's in his 80s, is he? You got Leckie, and he's got like
he's a good looking 40. I'm going to say that.
He's been doing it 20 plus years. Jess obviously getting a lot of advice and stuff from Charlie, who's been doing it for, and Charlie's on the show, comes across well, knows what he's doing and has to do things. Jess, let's quickly, the hustle, Dubai hustle.
Yes.
Is the hustle real? Is it real? How much is real and how much is dramatized? How much are you told what to do, or do you just do what you want to do?
Absolutely. I mean, basically the whole show, there was no plan. We didn't sit down and calculate, this is the storyline, and this is who's going to be the villain, and this is who's going to be the protagonist, and, this is who might quit. We literally just worked.
Some good words there, Chris. Chris has got Google out.
She's like, here's that one.
Where's one of the stories?
Get that?
How do you spell protagonist?
Can't even see it.
Anyways, so no, they literally just followed us around. We actually there was a lot that they, didn't use on the show, or that they decided wasn't really flowing with the storyline, because as they followed us over the months, they kind of decided, what was something that was really pressing, a deal or source of drama that was kind of continuing and building and had different elements and people involved. And they kind of just weaved the story from the content that they had.
Are the realities of working, could I watch the program and get a true sense of real estate, do you feel? So could I kind of binge watch the shows, then come out here and it's going to be something similar to that?
Yeah,
I think
obviously you're in the nice homes, so they're not always going to be in the nice homes with the nice furniture, but it is going to give you a sense of a real genuine feel to what it is. We haven't dramatise it in the way that we've all hired kind of Maseratis and 911s and this kind of thing.
Through hard work getting those cars, and that's obviously we've all been here a few years. I cut about in my Nissan Sunny for a year. Like nearly a year and a half, 2 years.
And that's how it goes, right? And that's how I started as well. I think I was in a Peugeot.
Everybody has to start somewhere.
Of course, right?
And that's it. I ditched I had a nice Merc back home, binned that when I came over, sold that, and had my wee Nissan Sunny. And look, when the cameras arrive, it's literally like they show up, set up, and then they say, what's happening in your life?
Literally.
It's like daunting, because there's no plan. And because we live this and work this day to day, we think that it's maybe a bit, dare to say it, boring for a camera to be watching how they're supposed to make a TV show. But when you watch it back, you're like, wow, this is actually an exciting career. What an opportunity.
Chris, you mentioned opportunities. Over to you, Eddie. What are your biggest achievements from the opportunities? Is it the money? Is it the Dubai lifestyle? Is it waking up and seeing sunshine? What would you say the achievements that not just real estate, but Dubai's probably given you?
Well, from a guy from just outside of Glasgow, the list is endless. So, sunshine being one. The opportunity that obviously the Dubai life gives you. Obviously, real estate career. It's daunting, obviously, being on a commission-based only job, but I feel as if those salary jobs, you're just locked into a salary, whereas a commission-based job, the potential's yours, so that is what you make it. So everybody says is it a hard job? Is it this? Is it that? It's not a hard job. No, it's just hard work.
Yeah.
So the achievements and goals that I've obviously sat down and wrote out my goals and achievements over the past year and what I'm looking to aim for this year. So there is quite a lot of what to look forward to here. Yeah.
Great, Chris. Goals for the future?
Do you know that's funny? You should ask that. I've never
He's
been.
never thought about it.
No, but this is honest, right? I'm being completely honest.
Yeah.
I've never been the type of person. I don't know if I've just never bought into it and, believed, write down your goals, health, wealth, savings, these sort of work, whatever it is that you set yourself. Never really believed in that. I thought, do you know what? I'm me, I'll back myself and I'll go for it. But the tail end of last year, I didn't have the year that I wanted to have. Yeah. Hence, obviously, the move into off-plan, a new direction for myself, and back myself in essentially a whole new industry or part of the sector of the market from having all those years. So it was only like maybe a couple of days ago, I sat down, I wrote out my goals for the year and everything that I wanted. And ever since, I've been to the gym every day, because that was one of them. Go to the sauna every day, and I'm starting to almost become this sort of like this spiritual life coach. I'm sitting in the sauna last night, honestly. I'm sitting in the sauna last night by myself. It's dark, I've turned the lights off, roasting, melting, but I was like, there was a few, as your brain goes, there's a few worries, and I was thinking to myself, why am I focusing on the problem instead of the solution? Yeah. And I was like, wow. And honestly, it's these little changes, and I'm looking at the goals, and it's like, right, 3 times a week gym, done that already. So I've already overachieved this week. And then it's went from a weekly goals to a monthly to a yearly. And then I think hopefully once I get into this rhythm and repetition, I'll start then 5 year.
You did a sale yesterday, Chris?
Yeah, done a sale, started the year off well.
Plan deal in the bag.
Yeah, so I mean,
fantastic.
I think that these small changes, I've took any ego out of it. I've took anything that you become quite, I don't know if it's naive or you just think, I'll do well. I back myself. Yeah. I'm starting to reshape myself, and this year I want to absolutely smash it.
Mm-hmm. Don't know where to lead from that.
Don't know.
Is that Chris Locke saying this?
I want that. No.
Fair play to you, Chris. Right, finally, Jess. You're the one level-headed. You're all level-headed, but I'll just say that to Jess. One piece of advice to anyone thinking of starting their career in Dubai real estate, what would it be?
I think if you don't have a strong sense of just self and your own value and confidence in yourself and your mindset, then I wouldn't recommend you do it. You need to believe in yourself, basically. It sounds so cheesy. I hate when people say that.
I know what you mean.
But
and that's when I think really believing in yourself.
No.
Because you ask 10 people on the street, you believe in yourself, what are they going to say?
Yeah,
of course I do.
Yeah.
But then really, it's like when you're writing down your goals, like if I don't hit that goal, is it going to keep me up at night? Those are the ones that I want to do. Those are the ones that really get into me. Yeah. So I hear what you're saying with that.
You have to be delusional that you're like, I have to sell, or I'm going to have to leave Dubai or live with a roommate or something. You know what I mean? Because coming into commission only, whether it's sales, whether it's leasing, all you've got for, why didn't I make this many calls? Why didn't I do this many viewings? Why haven't I had any clients? Why am I not in the office? It's on you. You know what I mean? So everything basically, it's a numbers game as well. But if you're not showing up for yourself and at least putting in the effort, then you're not going to get anywhere in this industry. And you need to believe it will happen too.
Is it difficult? Like we say, everyone's going to back, or everyone thinks, and everyone's going to, I back myself. But then how true are people when like looking in the mirror and being like, do I really back myself?
Yeah, I think Chris actually touched on it as well before. You see many people come, but a lot more go. And that's just the Dubai real estate industry. There's a lot of people that think they can do it until they actually come here and give it a go. But it's not as easy as everybody may think or it may look. Don't get me wrong, it is what you put into it at the end of the day.
Yeah. Jamie Hemingway touched on it. I think it could have been the last podcast, maybe the one before, which I didn't realise. He was 4 months in, and he spoke to one of the starters that he joined with in month 1, and he said to them, I'm 4 months in, I'm jacking it. I can't do it. And I didn't know this till the podcast that he's come up with it. Yeah. The guy's then gone on to write 6-7 million last year.
Yeah,
So it takes, I don't know, is it resilience? I know we talk about grit, determination, but it's having those dark days, and sometimes, you know, what our minds are so powerful, right? We tell ourselves these stories, and, you know, I think credit to you, you get your 10% of negative feedback, and you can dwell on that 10%, but why not look at the 90% that's really good?
Exactly,
Of course. I think resilience is the perfect word for it, because I had it last year where every deal I was touching, you know, contract and check in hand, and they were falling through. You know, you can reflect on yourself, and even on the show I said, look, it is just bad luck. There's nothing I've done wrong there. I can't help. So being resilient, forgetting and leaving those sort of negativity so easy, it sticks to you. And that's, brush it off. I think it's quite easy for us right now because it's a new year. The board's wiped clean. I think that's good, and we need to use that for all of us to really kick on, and as a company, as agents ourselves. But let go of the negativity. I'm always Mr. Positive anyway. I like to have a laugh. I like to bring that energy. 100%. But I can feel myself sometimes it can be smothering. It can.
No, great guys. Thank you so much. Thank you to all our listeners for joining us today. You can catch the new series at BBC Three and on iPlayer, and make sure to follow us on social media to see more of Chris, Jess and Eddie. Finally, if you've got what it takes and want to be part of the team, we want to hear from you. Check out our careers page, and everything will be in the show notes. Many thanks.